Beatdown, Fists of Vengeance, 2005. Beatdown Fists of Vengeance appears to be a remarkable improvement to the tried-and-true beat-em-up format, at least on paper. You may freely traverse a city, bribe or force sidekicks, rob and interrogate individuals, battle adversaries in a fighting game-style combat system, learn new combinations, and much more. You'll also be able to alter your character's look to prevent being discovered by cops or other gangs. It was launched in 2005 and was created by Cavia and published by Capcom. Fighting adversaries to take down a dark organization and seize control of Los Sombras gives the player a reputation on the streets. It casts the player as one of 5 criminals who have been betrayed by their leader and spread over the city. In addition, the player has total control over team building and may travel freely for the majority of the game. Beatdown will appeal to individuals who wonder why games like Final Fight and Double Dragon aren't as popular as they once were. Beatdown, ironically or conveniently, supplies the solution to that rhetorical question. No matter how much makeup you put on an aging actress, the wrinkles will eventually cut through the top, revealing the fractured foundation beneath. Beatdown comes across as a chaotic mishmash of concepts covered in an angry blanket of life-siphoning load times in an attempt to cater to today's age by tossing in unnecessary bells and whistles that aren't acceptable in the genre. However, it has plenty of positives as well. Stay with us to find out. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Taking fighting games to new levels of depth. The plot of Beatdown revolves around 5 members of a mob-like organization led by Zanetti. When you arrive for a drug deal, you discover that everyone involved has died. Your little group is betrayed and splits up to avoid the heat from your own gang, who believes you've turned on them, opposing gangs who want you dead, and the cops who are also hunting you. Then, as you explore the dingiest depths of Los Sombras, seeking to clear your name and escape the heat that's been placed on you, each character's plot follows its own path. You'll start by going to a neighborhood tavern that acts as a type of safe haven. The friendly bartender there offers you pricey but health-promoting cocktails and money-making side tasks. Not only will you earn points to spend on 3 distinct role-playing game-like traits as you acquire experience and level your character, but you'll also be able to learn new moves from the bartender and other characters. When you become weary of strolling around the city and participating in side activities or random fights, an informant in the bar offers you plot-related objectives to do, so you may do what she says to progress the storyline. Vendors and other non-player characters may provide you with knowledge, join your gang, offer you assignments, or become hostile when you approach them as you walk the city. The problem with going about the city is that the police and opposing gang members get increasingly familiar with you as time passes. The recognition meters are displayed as percentages in the upper corner of the screen. If one of these hits 100%, you'll be compelled to battle every time you run across a cop or a rival gang. You must continually spend money at merchants to change your clothing, hairstyles, and even have plastic surgery in order to throw adversaries off your track and move around freely without fighting. Each of the 5 characters has a unique combat style. Others give raw force and power, while others are swift. The fights in the game may provide a variety of sensations depending on the type of fight you're in. The combat engine has a good deal of depth. Combo moves are triggered by hitting the punch and kick buttons in specific sequences. A block button and a grab button are also available for grappling, tossing, and disarming foes. Enemies can occasionally take out weapons, and there are also weapons lying on the ground. So if you can manage to pick one up, you can deal a lot of damage quickly. Random street battles are more like Final Fight. Any sidekicks you have will fight with you autonomously, diverting some of the opponents you may be up against. You may freely go from opponent to opponent, and each adversary has a visible health meter that you must reduce. You can do two-person combinations if you've established a connection with your sidekicks, but they're usually more hassle than they're worth. After you've taken out all of the adversaries, you may loot their bodies for cash and goods. The plot-related battles are one-on-one events, more akin to traditional fighting game. While you take on foes one by one, your sidekicks stand back. If you die, your sidekicks will only engage in plot-related combat. You can even engage in combat with neutral NPCs. These are likewise one-on-one bouts, but with a twist. Instead of knocking out your opponent, you can lower his pride meter to 0 if you win, and before he dies. You can seize the adversary after his pride approaches 0, which brings up a selection of alternatives. You may make your opponents work as goons for you, steal them of money, question them for information, or just beat them up for the experience. Although the character models are detailed and animated effectively, the game suffers from clipping and camera difficulties, murky textures, and a lack of art style. Although the game includes some voices, most dialogues are still conducted through plain text. There is somewhat modest music that isn't especially noteworthy. Although it functions similarly to any other plot-specific combat, there is a versus mode. You choose 3 characters and play against either a computer or a human opponent, with the match ending when all members of one team have been eliminated, similar to Capcom vs SNK. Marvelous Gamers Review. While we cannot suggest this game without reservation, there is undoubtedly an audience that will like the violence and harsh language. Capcom did the right thing by allowing 2-player conflicts and expanding the replay value with 5 characters. Still, by the conclusion of the first scenario, some players may be tired of the long load times and irrational decisions. If you're curious, rent it. It's an enjoyable game that you'll want to play again. Not often, but enough to warrant a sequel or reboot. If Capcom released Beatdown today or in the future, it would most likely be a better game because gaming and beat-em-up trends have evolved, and a degree of free roaming and open-world action is now anticipated. If you enjoyed this video, do drop a like and share it with your pals. Let us know if there are any other games on your radar. See you in the next one.